Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sonic Frontiers. We are we going to find Knuckles in this part, or are we just gonna faff around doing side stuff for the rest of the year? I don't know.
I really hope it's the former.
Anyway, what the? I did that backwards, but who cares? Oh
you got something on your,
no! Upgrade time.
Everything.
All right.
Why are you doing rings?
Now
Why
he has
am I-
more than 500 rings.
Why
That's
am I
gonna take you
doing
longer to get
rings?
to the
because, well, not really, because I lose rings at the same rate that I would otherwise. It'll just take me longer to die.
No, it takes you longer to get to the boost.
Only if I'm starting from 0 rings, but I'm never starting from 0 rings.
If you
Just
load
saying,
the
it's
game
like
up
inherently.
from saving, how many rings do you start with?
Whatever you left off with.
Oh.
I think it's whatever you left off with.
Yeah.
Oh, it
it's-
remembers that? It doesn't like start you.
Yeah. Well, the game auto saves all the damn time.
Yeah. And, like, you don't even lose rings when you, like, fall into a pit, I don't think, so...
Sonic bored.
Sonic ran his face into a spring.
I really have to wonder why every civilization known to this planet left random springs lying around on the ground, but, you know, there probably is a lore reason
Dude,
for that if you read up the
that's-
comics.
That's not even the weirdest thing. This civilization has a giant fucking pinball machine in their volcano. And Sonic openly questions this. He's like, well, I guess the love of pinball predates civilization because holy hell. It's also a massive spinball reference, but because it's in a volcano, but
Oh. I mean, like, at least, like, in, like, the classic games, it doesn't make sense, but at least we could just imagine... There's a dodge roll in this game?
Yeah.
Excuse me? What? Sonic the Hedgehog souls? Elden Ring?
Elden Rings. Rings. Plural.
I still
But
haven't
yeah.
played that goddamn game.
Apparently it's quite
I'm surprised
good.
you haven't.
I mean, it's on PC
yeah,
now.
from what I understand, everybody.
It's on PC now, so I
loves the
should be able to
gameplay.
play it. And I've heard great things, but I haven't gotten around to it.
It seems like a very Lewis game, considering it's
Well,
like Dark Souls plus Skyrim. So,
It's Dark Souls plus George R.R. Martin, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's also like open worldy too. So.
Yeah, but my point is, it's two things that I love mashed together. So, like, I'm really interested to see what it's like, but I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Oh, actually, question that I'm surprised we haven't brought up. That was the first time I noticed that the camera like did something weird on you. How good is the camera in general for this game?
I didn't really have any problems with it.
It doesn't give you trouble too often, but there are occasional times when it can be a bit wonky. No more
Like-
often than any other 3D game.
It's not even the matter of the camera itself being weird. It's just when the game decides to just lock you into a 2D section.
That happens a lot on Island 3, yeah.
Island 3 is full of that shit, yeah.
A lot of the platforming sections in the game, a lot of the little obstacle course things have their own fixed camera angles that they try to lock you into. Even if they're not 2D sections, they'll swing the camera around to a specific direction to say, "Hey, you're going the wrong way, asshole. You should be starting this particular obstacle course from the other side." Whenever you enter those sort of camera zones, it can swing the camera around and be a bit annoying in that way. But
I know the shrubbery and the moss is supposed to represent like a beard, but it just looks like they just dunked their head in a bowl of spinach. And, like, we're just interrupting something.
Treebeard, this ain't. But okay, so
Spinach beard.
So there's really like no way to glitch your way all the way up there and like run into that guy.
No.
Well, that's not what the loading zone's at,
Yeah,
though.
but
That's the thing.
it would be even funnier if you were like, "Hey, man," and then you ran.
I mean, I would agree. I
Tank.
actually
Tank.
really like that. I like Tank.
Tank.
I like Tank.
Did any
Tank's
of you
fun.
guys play Tank on We Play?
No.
Which is okay. It's the only game on that game that's worth playing for more than like 5 minutes.
anyway, this is a fun little boss because it traps you in this sort of cyclone thing, And you have to time your hits to homing attack through its, like, exhaust flames.
Are you stuck in like a free fall?
And then sometimes it sucks you into this sort of whirl around it, and if you time your button press right, you can just hit it rapid fire like this.
Yeah. It's really satisfying.
Phantom Rush, go! I like the Phantom Rush mechanic because it does actually reward you for having good combo counts.
It feels like the move where you shoot the orbs at it isn't good because all it does is stop your combo because the animation still has the combo going.
It has a slowdown, but it also hits a lot of times all at once. So it does let your combo meter run down a bit, but it also has a big impact on the combo meter when it hits. So you kind of have to time it so that you're not using it when the combo meter is too low.
What does the Phantom Rush actually like? When does that happen?
When your meter maxes out.
Yeah, when your combo meter hits its maximum, Phantom Rush will activate, and it causes your main combo attacks to go faster and your special attacks to damage with more, punch.
Oomph. So you want to prioritize building the meter first to activate Phantom Rush and then go ham with the other maneuvers.
Yeah.
I think like the thing that builds up the meter fast is actually just like the standard combo.
It depends. It's not
because you notice like you did the finisher there and the meter did not move at all.
It's not like Devil May Cry where you actually need to mix up your attacks to increase your meter. So
yeah.
Just gravitate toward whatever moves increase the meter faster if you really want to go for it.
How often would you say getting lost is a problem in this game?
Not often, because like the worlds aren't as big as they seem, or more accurately, they are big, but you move so fast that large areas mean less in terms of navigational complexity than they otherwise would.
Not to mention everything is marked on the map, like outside of one or two things, but you always have a general direction of where to go.
You have your frickin' Skyrim compass at the top there, so you can usually tell what's close by easy enough, So that's not an issue. Getting lost in Island 3...
Strider!
It's like a fucking Pokemon.
Getting lost on Island 3 is a problem, but that's more because the pop-in makes it so that it's hard to see the rails and stuff that you need to be able to see to figure out how to get to the different sub-islands.
Does the game automatically jump you to the next set of rails on the bottom?
Yes,
okay.
It does.
Once you...
This is a dude, if you're thinking about fighting, activate Infinite Boost first. It makes this section especially less troublesome.
You have the boost in order to make it glowy?
Yeah,
it does kind of help, but when you're skating along with the blue trail behind you, it actually slows your boost meter down. So once you know how to beat these guys, it doesn't really matter if you have infinite boost. It is a convenience, but it doesn't really...
Yeah, for the sake of convenience, I would activate infinite boost before fighting it. Yeah, but there are instances where you fight dudes that rely on the boost to like reach a weak point, and they just give you infinite boost because of how the rail works. There's one dude, I think it's in Island 3, the flying battleship or some other shit.
Yeah.
Where the rails just give you infinite boost.
Yeah. Well, as long as you're on the blue streaks anyway.
Yeah, as long as you're on the blue rail, right.
But then you also have to remember to press the boost button every so often because sometimes it just shuts off.
Well, you gotta let the boost warm up for a bit first. The weather's cold.
It's just like sometimes the game inexplicably reads you as not being on the ground, and you can't boost infinitely when you're in the air. It'll shut off your boost if you're in the air. So it'll read you as being in the air, and you'll have to remember to press the boost button again when you're on the ground. But it's a little hard to tell because when you're on those rails, you don't have a boost trail. So you just have to keep an eye and make sure you notice when the boost meter disappears from the HUD. I like how you got that speedometer thing, by the way, and it's like, okay, I guess I'm going fast.
It's always that.
Well,
max,
it was. I mean, it's about as pointless as the speed tracker in Unleashed whenever you went past a checkpoint.
Yeah, that was weird. You definitely weren't going 395 miles per hour. I'm just going to say that right there. My car drives faster than Sonic is running in this game, technically.
So, like, didn't they do the math? And if Sonic was running that fast, the levels would be done in 10 seconds or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Get the cocoa. It's on the ground. No.
He's got a challenge first.
Yeah, I need to...
You had a whole minute left to do that challenge.
Yeah, because I was skipping up the cliff by doing
Yeah,
tricks.
so you could skip up the cliff after getting the cocoa.
I can go get the cocoa anytime. Besides, I'm not
and
even...
You're not going. You're not gonna.
I'm not gonna, because trying to
You
upgrade...
need the cocoa for the cocoa cake. You gotta get the cocoa.
Look, because trying to upgrade yourself with cocos that you find around the level is a fool's errand. You're going to be upgrading yourself...
On that, I agree.
You're going to be upgrading yourself with the cocos that you get from fishing, because you just get so much more quickly. And you get them so slowly trying to collect them manually that it's kind of like, what's the point?
I'd imagine there'd be like no fishing challenges and shit like that that people would induce themselves. It'd probably be me, but
Whenever you get to
up.
Frontiers on your streaming challenge.
Absolutely not. No, I'm absolutely fishing.
Ted,
I am not doing that.
Ted,
stuff.
Sonic Frontiers Grindathon when?
I mean, I haven't streamed in like a year, so probably never.
Yes, yeah, excellent. You do for a comeback.
You know, now that I work a full-time job, I'm gonna say I'll pass. Thanks.
Well. I need to actually finish Age of Calamity.
Oh, yo, same.
The game is so good, and yet I haven't finished it.
It's weird in that the parts that made the game better made me want to play it less. Ironically enough.
It's funny. There's like no definitive game between Hyrule Warriors 1 and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. They just both have really good aspects in different areas compared to each other.
So, Hyrule Warriors, part of why I played it so much was because it was a very good don't think kind of game. Which is odd considering that one of my things about that game is that I feel like it's much less mindless than people give it credit for. But when you play something for over 200 hours, you can do it without thinking.
That's just Muso in a nutshell. It's like it's just thoughtless enough in the gameplay that I expect from most players, but there's complexity enough for the skilled players to really to really sink their teeth into. But yeah. Age of Calamity is a more deliberate game, just from the get-go.
Yeah, so that was part of the thing is that it required a lot more thought. So I would play. The reason why I streamed Hyrule Warriors so much was because it was something that I could play and also talk to chat and be engaged, and have discussions and not and still play well. Whenever I tried to stream Splatoon, for example, that's a game that I'm fairly good at, but I need to focus. And so whenever I streamed, I played awful.
You'd hit a kind of fairly focused or difficult part of the game, and you'd have to fall silent and focus on the game for a little while, and it's just yeah, that's not great for streaming.
Yeah, I don't know how streamers of competitive games or speedrunners who talk and joke around with the chat while they do it can be that way when it requires that much attention. It's something I'm not capable of doing for sure.
One of the things about those streamers is that they tend to focus on one game for a pretty long time while they're streaming.
That's true, yeah.
So they'll get to a point where a lot of this skill is instinctive. I'm trying to boost jump my way up this wall, but I'm not finding a place where it happens. It's very inconsistent boost jumping in this game. It's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and I can never tell what causes it to work and what causes it to not work.
Well, that works.
Trying to use the physics exploits in this game is like wizardry. It's like trying to be a goddamn Elder Scrolls mage. You feel like a demigod when you finally get there, but you're just swinging daggers at things and missing all the time until you do. Okay, so
Just like in real life.
You might notice that Island 2 is taking a much longer time to fill out than Island 1. It's because it's actually like twice as big.
I mean, that makes sense in that the first island is the first island, and this one is... it also seems to have much more verticality, too. Like, you've got cliffs and then canyons beneath the cliffs and whatnot, so...
Yeah.
That will add a lot of... Adding layers will add a lot of time to any amount of anything.
Yeah, it also has more of these challenges where you have to, like... You have to do something fairly time-consuming to fill out the map. Although, this one is not one of those. This one is just, oh, oops. I hope you know how to hope you know how to paraloop. Jump on these 3 platforms and do that 3 times. Okay, sure, why not? Challenge complete. Oh man. You know what this game needs? It needs more traditional dungeons. That's what this needs. Because these little mini challenges, they're fun, but they just don't give you the same feeling, you know?
Okay, so real talk, though, I feel like this is actually a problem that many open worlds in modern RPGs have, is that there's not a lot of things that emulate the feeling of dungeons from classic RPGs.
That depends on what you're talking about, because like Skyrim has the opposite problem where there's too many goddamn full-length dungeons in the game and it takes forever to get anything done.
I'm more referring to RPGs in the sense that like emulate some open world elements than full open world games. Because like Pokemon, for example, I've been playing the game for I think like 15, 20 hours-ish at this point, and I haven't found anything resembling a dungeon.
There are a few fairly complex cave systems that you can explore, but they're almost entirely optional. Like, there's one area where if you want to get to the psychic gym early, you glide around a mountain, right, by the coast, and there's this really long cave system full of high-level Pokemon and trainers that you can fight. And you have to go through that to get to that particular town over the back way. Otherwise, you're expected to wait until later in the game, unlock the ability to climb mountains, and just go up the front. And that's the kind of dungeon design that Violet and Scarlet has. But
yeah, I have not seen like almost anything like that yet, so it's just been a little like just kind of walking forward.
Yeah, Area Zero at the end of the game is kind of satisfying in that sense, but it is mostly a linear, just sort of trek down the crater.
Yeah, and this isn't just a Pokemon thing either. Like, this is something that a lot of Breath of the Wild players have mentioned, where the Divine Beasts feel a bit anemic. Even Dragon Quest XI...
Bit too short and bit too samey.
Dragon Quest XI also has a similar issue where there's like caves and dungeons stuff, but they're all very simple until the very end of the game. SMT5 has like 2 dungeons period in the entire thing, and they both suck.
Well, Shin Megami Tensei dungeons do have a tendency to just be corridors.
I mean, but here's the thing, this is part of the reason why I love SMT4 so much, not Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, SMT4 and Persona 5 really did their dungeons well. So it's not like this. It's not like the series can't have good dungeons. It's just that they don't do good ones often.
Yeah, like Nocturne's dungeons were like extremely painful and took forever. And the encounter rate in that game is obnoxious.
I'll tell you what Nocturne's dungeons were. They were built like first-person corridors, like the old-school SMTs, but you weren't playing them in first person, so it no longer made any sense.
So fun fact, if you beat Nocturne, at least on the original PS2 release, you unlocked a cheat code to play the game in first person, like SMT 1 and 2, where you like moved forward one tile at a time.
Yeah.
Which is one of these.
I thought the music was Gangnam Style for a second. I was kind of very confused.
It's a little like what Code Veronica does, where you can unlock a first-person shooter mode, which was interesting.
What stage is this supposed to be?
I think this is maybe Chemical Plant.
I think this is just Chemical Plant from Generations.
It might be, yeah.
I have not played Generations in a while. I do not really remember a lot of the level designs in that game.
One of the weird things that Sonic Frontiers sometimes does with its cyberspace levels is putting modern Sonic into not just iterations of modern Sonic levels, but also some of the classic Sonic levels. This, I'm pretty sure, is a modern Sonic level because of all the rails. But I'm pretty sure one of the Chemical Plant levels in this game is classic Sonic's version of Chemical Plant from Generations.
Yeah. And it's awful.
It's a bit weird playing it with boost and all.
Couldn't you unlock boost for classic Sonic in that
You
game?
could unlock the homing attack for classic Sonic.
Okay.
As a move that you could equip at the shop. So it was interesting. And it was kind of just a meta thing because it was implying that Sonic learned the homing attack. Oh, spikes.
He learned the homing attack from himself.
I kind of wish the credits just rolled.
Damn it. Damn it, I got dimsed. I got dimsed.
When you
What?
play
What?
the
What?
Oh yeah,
What?
why are there spikes down there?
Get dimsed, idiot.
Did you see me just like not launch off the ramp for some reason there?
I think you pressed the stomp button.
No, I didn't press the stomp button. Sometimes you just stick to the ramp.
Oh, did you snap to the ground?
Yeah, it happens in
Yeah, it's a physics
Why did
quirk
you
of this
jump
game,
over
yeah.
the boost pad?
It happens in forces as well, where sometimes you'll just stick to something that's supposed to be a ledge, and you run down the wall instead. It's just a weird quirk of the engine.
Are the boost pads actually slower in this game? Because you deliberately jumped over one.
Boosting in general is slower in this game than it should be. But I think I might have just jumped over that one by accident.
Oh, okay.
Or fear.
Well, sometimes what happens in a Sonic game is I'll see something moving toward me and I'll jump out of reflex to just avoid whatever it is that's coming at my face, you know? But sometimes it's a boost pad and I don't need to.
So, do you get an extra key for clearing all 4 missions?
Yes, you do.
You get multiple extra keys for clearing all 4 missions. There's a total of 7 keys per cyberspace level. You get 1 key per mission, and then when you complete all the missions, you get an additional 3 keys.
Okay.
So it is very or is it 4 keys? One of the two.
Well, no, because you did one of the last missions and you got the
Cleared
bonus.
all the missions and got an additional 3 keys.
Yes, 3
Yeah.
keys. So 7 keys per cyberspace level. It is very worth it if you can complete all the missions in a level, especially if you're trying to minimize the number of cyberspace levels you actually play. So find the ones that are easy for you to complete and do that.
Do extraneous keys do anything?
No, they're just completion. And not even like map completion that displays as the 100% thing on the map screen. Just, they're a resource that you can get that does not respawn in the Blood Moons. So if you're trying to get all of that, then...
Oh, if you want to count as everything being done, you have to beat all the cyberspace levels, which counts as getting all the keys.
Yes. And they're also check marks on a list that can be easily tracked. Basically, they're one of the few things in this game that I consider part of a true 100% completion run, which is why I'm doing them all.
Oh, that's something that, I hate when people argue about where it's what counts for 100% completion.
Oh, yeah,
And then
I get
it's
it.
trying to get people to agree on that is always extremely frustrating.
I get it. I just don't count the memory tokens and stuff because they respawn every time a star shower happens. So it's why? Why bother? You can't even track it properly.
There was actually a funny one of those, Ted, in this last Games Done Quick Marathon. They were doing a Zelda game 100%. And obviously you only have to get the highest upgrade for it to count, because if you can skip the middle upgrade, why bother getting it? Sort of thing. So they argued that shields were not part of 100% because they could get eaten by lights and you can get more of them, therefore they're consumable.
Okay. I get that, but I also think it's a bit silly because there's only one, and
No, this was an old Zelda game. You can get more than one.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
well, I mean, you can only get one, and if it gets eaten by a you can replace that one, but you can only carry one at a time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would argue in that case that having the shield counts as part of completion. So if you lose it, you just replace it. Easy. Now, if it was something like the breakable shields in fucking Breath of the Wild, then it would be different because, no. But in that case, I would still at least count the Hylian shield because it's a special item. You can only have one at a time. And that's why I buy the house at Hateno so that I can at least say that I have all 4 legendary weapons on my save file. Heaven help me if I break one.
I buy the house because it's like the only thing your money is good for by the end of the game. Also, I'll never own a house in the real world, so I might as well do it here.
The funny thing about the Hateno house is that, like, I watched a video on this recently, and it's programmed in such a weird way in places that it feels like they intended to do more with it. Like, there's an NPC nearby that runs the deer hunting minigame, but for some reason, every time you do the deer hunting minigame, it also summons your horse for no reason. And there's the video speculated that this NPC was repurposed from an NPC that was supposed to live at the Hateno house and would be like your personal stable hand or something.
I like that the Hateno house is just actually Link's house.
And here's the weirdest thing. If you do a spin cut or something outside the house at the lawn and cut the grass pops one piece at a time instead of all at once, which led this person to speculate that maybe they had started programming a farming mechanic into the house, but didn't finish it in time, so they just put grass there or something. And that would have been neat, you know? Farming some materials in your own personal garden. It's something Skyrim does, but the house is really no good for anything but sleeping, and the house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside for some reason. So it's a TARDIS. That's interesting.
Oh, do they like have a separate load zone that brings you to like a mini dimension inside the house?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. The house's dimensions on the inside aren't the same as on the outside. It's like there are so many little like programming aspects to the Hateno house that suggest that they were planning to do more with the house than they actually did. And that gives me hope, because it means that the house in Tears of the Kingdom probably won't need to be modded to be worth a damn. But yeah, it's so weird though. You can't even get like a luxury bed at your house. You just get regular old sleep. You don't get bonus hearts. You'd think that would be, you know, a no-brainer to include as part of your house that you spent thousands and thousands of rupees on. But no. Just a regular ass bed.
Ass bed.
This is the dumbest minigame in the game. I hate this fucking minigame so much. And here's why. The more of these goddamn things you pick up, the more you and the obstacles both speed up at the same time. So your timing becomes more and more annoying the farther along you get. Look, you go from 0 to 6 billion in like no time flat. So it becomes really annoying to try and get around the obstacles without taking damage. You can only get hit so many times, I think, before you lose, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
When you get hit, you lose all of the soldiers that you're carrying. So, yeah.
Can you do like more than one trip or no?
Yeah.
No, for some reason, the speed of the obstacles is related to how many cocos you're carrying at once.
But you can't like drop off 2 and then drop off another.
No,
no,
you have to.
You can do that.
Can you?
He already dropped off 8, and he's doing the other one.
Oh no! I thought Ted meant like what? Can you drop off a specific amount that you're already carrying?
Yeah, you can. The problem is that you move really slow when you're carrying just a few. But when you get more to speed yourself up, you also.
Isn't that the backwards of how it should be? Shouldn't he be going slower if he has more holding on?
I mean, he should, but the real problem is Sonic's acceleration. He just goes off at like a shot. Like,
it sounds like they shouldn't even be able to fit underneath that thing, so it doesn't.
They shouldn't. Good observation.
It's hilarious though when you try and grab all of them, how fast those fucking pillars are moving.
This goddamn dance, it's so out of nowhere.
The thing is, the faster your acceleration gets, the harder it is to time slipping underneath the goddamn things. So it's just...
Is it even possible, though? Like, let's say, like, you try and go for all the cocos at once. That thing is moving... The final pillars at the end are moving so fast, I think it's literally impossible.
It's possible, but you'd have to practice it a lot to get the timing down, is the thing. So it's not... It's really not worth it unless you're a speedrunner. Yeah, and you know, it just doesn't feel very good to play, so I don't really
find
enjoy
Knuckles.
that.
We just found Knuckles. He was right there.
We'll find him again.
When it jumps straight to find Knuckles, it means you've got enough memory tokens for the next story event. So go me.